for today's 17th episode on Kaapi, that is Kashaya, and a personal interaction with the yogi. We have with us today an esteemed guest, Professor Dr. K Satya Lakshmi, Madam, who is the esteemed Director of National Institute of Naturopathy from Pune. Welcome you, Madam. Swagatam.
Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you for accepting our invitation and joining with us. I'm sure this week is going to be quite busy for you. Even other ways during this pandemic situation, being in a responsible position of a national institute that to connected to health, you have been quite busy with all those. And naturopathy is something connected with yoga, so the yoga day is also approaching. And I today happened to see in the Facebook your wonderful yoga performance also. So. You will be busy in organizing a lot of events and people would be inviting you for all those things also. In spite of it, I'm glad that you took time to join with me today. It's a privilege and pleasure. And thank you so much for coming. And for the benefit of my dear friends who are watching today's program, we have with us the most esteemed Director of National Institute of Naturopathy, which is one of the pioneering institution naturopathy in the country. We had the privilege of this program. We also had the Director of the National Institute of Yoga with us, and we are going to have from Siddha, from all the Indian streams of medicine, the directors coming and joining with us to have Kashaya with us and then have a live interaction. So that is the wonderful thing in this program. The uniqueness we are bringing yoga, its connection with Ayurveda, yoga, its connection with naturopathy, yoga, its connection with Siddha and other traditional systems of the Ayush systems as we call. So I always keep telling that when we say Ayush, of course, Ayush means Ayushman Bhava, the long life which is required for a person to live. And today it also stands, the acronym for Ayurveda, Yoga, Naturopathy, Unani, Siddha, and Homeopathy. So, many of the people ask, N is missing there, but N is not different from Y. So, yoga and naturopathy are two sides of the same coin. So, they go together in the soul system. And here the beauty is, if you remove the Y from that, if you remove Y from this Ayush, it becomes Aush, which is Aushadhi, which is external medicine, which is given in terms of Ayurveda or Siddha, homeopathy. Everywhere it is something externally you need to take, whereas yoga and naturopathy is more about internal, the nature, the prakriti, what we have within. So I always say when you add Y to this Aush, yoga and naturopathy adds long life even to the other systems of medicine. That is how they complement the other systems also and take us to a wonderful healing. And I'm so glad that Dr. Satya Lakshmi ji is here with us. So I think this year in June, she's completed 5 years of her tenure as the Director of National Institute of Naturopathy, where she started 1st of June 2015 as the director. So congratulations, madam, from all of us who are with you today for successfully completing 5 wonderful years of your expertise in leading the National Institute of Naturopathy from Pune, where within this 5 years, you have achieved lot of milestones. You have brought lot of laurels, lot of collaborations, and lot of extension activities to the institute. And especially this year, happens to be the 150th birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. So Mahatma Gandhi's role in naturopathy is very profound, and you have been doing wonderful work in bringing those relevance of Gandhiji's connection with naturopathy by introducing the course on Gandhian philosophy in the NIN Institute, and a lot of MOUs with prestigious institutions have been brought by Madam, and also the most accomplished work which Madam has brought to the institute is starting the Nisarga Gram, in 2019, which is an area of 25 acres to have a facility to accommodate 250 bedded indoor treatment facility, and also it will have a Gandhi Memorial Hall and a full-fledged naturopathy college with UG, PG, MD, and PhD fellowships, paramedical courses in yoga and naturopathy disciplines, which is also going to be there. And also, Satya Lakshmi Madam has been the main person behind bringing the National Accreditation Board for Hospitals and Healthcare Providers accreditation for the institute, which is NIN. And she is also the editor of Nisargopachar Varta and all those credentials which is going on. only introducing madam will be for the whole 1 hour what I am doing. So number of camps that he has conducted, almost the major project of conducting 150 mega naturopathy camps, in which was flagged off in October 2019 at Goa, and then the program has been happening in various parts of the country, which has been happening in Hyderabad and various parts of the country under her leadership. Naturopathy is growing a lot, and one of the major milestone in the field of naturopathy is the introduction of Naturopathy Day, the National Day of Naturopathy on November 18th, which is also one of the major milestone which is achieved during this past 5 years. So with all those, she is continuing her more than 30 years, more than 3 decades of seva in the field of yoga and naturopathy. So we are very proud and congratulate you, madam, for all these wonderful things that you have achieved.
Thank you. That's a long list. Yes, thank you.
I did not, in fact, go back to the earlier things which before accomplishing this tenure of the director of the National Institute, what you have done. I know I have not gone there because that's a long journey which you have made, which we would like to, hear from you yourself. So before we, go and do all those, being the director of this wonderful Institute of Naturopathy, the most pioneering institute, like I would like to ask you a clarification, like from the common people's perspective. We have various bodies connected to yoga and naturopathy which are there. For example, we see, of course, NIN, the National Institute of Naturopathy from Pune, which is there, and also CCRYN, which is Central Council for Research in Yoga and Naturopathy from New Delhi, again headed by my colleague and friend Dr. Raghavendra Rao, who we were all together with S. Vyasa, and he is there in that institute. This year he has joined as a director there, and that is there. So, and also we have, I think, the International Organization of Naturopathy, which is there. So various organizations are there. So what are the different roles of these organizations, and how is NIN, which is distinguished in its own way, how does it work, madam?
Yeah, National Institute of Naturopathy has a responsibility in terms of connecting society with Government of India, more so through Ayush Ministry, which has been carved out in 2014. Till then, we were part of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Then when Ayush Ministry formed as a separate ministry, thanks to the Prime Minister with a vision to give fillip and to give a status to the Indian systems of medicine, a separate ministry has been carved out in 2014 November, and since then we are working under Ministry of Ayush. And the National Institute of Naturopathy has a clear objectives. The first objective is to promote the system of naturopathy and take it to the poorest of the poor. The system of naturopathy to the poorest of the poor is the first objective, through various modalities and activities and propagation. And of course, there is a list of activities that are needed to be taken up in order to realize this objective. And then second major objective is to make this institute a university. So these are the two main objectives with which All India Nature Cure Foundation Trust was formed by none other than the father of this nation, Mahatma Gandhi, in the same building where we are housed now, and that is in Pune. So that is the beauty of this institute. It has a very strong historical legacy of treating and housing 3 prime ministers of this country, 3 presidents of this country, and then the first health minister of this country. All these activities were taking place at NIN under the guidance of Dr. Dinsha Mehta, who was the chosen naturopathy doctor by Mahatma Gandhi. And Mahatma Gandhi made this his home whenever he visited Pune. He stayed there, to be very precise, 157 days he stayed in this place and conducted various naturopathy experiments. And Dr. Dinsha Mehta also is not a small man, and he later on evolved into a spiritual person. And in the beginning, he made his body so strong and cultivated a kind of physique by doing exercises and yoga. And he was giving performances in Mumbai theaters and standing like these Greek figures for hours together. People would only touch and see if he's a real human being can stand like this for hours together. And with that kind of commitment and seriousness, he collected money from people's donations and philanthropy, and constructed this building in Pune. And then the journey started. That's the legacy with which today I am there as the head of the institution to take these objectives forward.
Very nice, in a beautiful way. You have given us the idea of the the legacy which the building is carrying, the institute is carrying, and I think it's a blessing that the father of the nation had almost stayed more than 157 days in that place where you are operating from that. And also very nice to know the connection with such great people, with who have been the pioneers in this field. So, I would like to learn from you, kind of what is naturopathy, because we have a lot of things. There are a lot of naturopathy institutes everywhere available now today, and we have a lot of health centers where naturopathy treatments are given, like maybe the hydrotherapy somewhere, fasting and diet, mud therapy. All those are, in a way, here and there we see that to happen. But to understand properly the fundamentals of what naturopathy is, yoga we have been talking a lot. So of course, always naturopathy and yoga, as I told, goes hand in hand. But about yoga, we have got a lot to know. But how they connected, we want to know. Before that, so I want to know independently what naturopathy is. So you being the authority on it, I would like to ask you to throw some light on it.
Yeah, there are many definitions to naturopathy. But then the beautiful thing with naturopathy is it presupposes that human body is a live machine. It knows to correct. It has a wisdom of its own, provided you allow that wisdom to act. But in the hurry of, or trying to control the body externally, what we do is we interfere with these processes. So most of the time what happens in the conventional medicine is we underestimate the wisdom of the body, and then interfere. So naturopathy as a system of medicine evolved in Europe. But I should tell you, many people have this, in their minds that it is a foreign science. It has come from West.
That's what I was about to ask you.
Yes. But although it has evolved as a system of medicine in the West, because the situation at that time was such, rapid industrialization, and people started living in cities, and then in crowded atmosphere, and then polluted conditions, and in very poor hygienic conditions, and the nutritional deficiencies. All these put together, resulted in all sorts of infectious diseases, and at that time, even this germ theory did not evolve, and slowly the entire science went in the direction in which the identification of the causative organism was the primary target. Then once it was identified, then the next step was to isolate it. Then the next step is to kill it. So from there to here, we have evolved. The science went in that direction. Whereas a group of doctors, they differed with this idea that the causative organism is external to body. They felt that, I will give you a simple example. A tuberculous bacilli cannot be grown here on this table. You need particular medium and temperature and congenial conditions for this microbe to thrive and multiply. And how is it growing inside the body? So these were the questions raised by these few people who differed with the mainstream Medicare or the science which took the root in germ theory. So they differed, and then they branched out and they called themselves naturopaths. So they were saying that out of 10, only 2 are having disease, 8 are healthy. So what is protecting these 8 people? We should stretch our imagination and spend our energies and then try and understand what is protecting. So they called it vitality. So when lowered vitality occurs, only then disease manifests. So they have simplified it, and then they called it unity of disease and unity of disease cure. So all diseases occur or manifest because of lowered vitality, and improving vitality, what we call now is immunity, is the crux of the matter. So you improve the immunity, naturally the disease processes. So this is a continuous process, disease and health, and they crisscross. It is not that you treat disease alone inside the body. When you are treating disease, you are also in a way affecting the health process also. So can anybody address disease without affecting the health process? So when they go together, there is an organic mechanism that keeps happening all over the body. So allow body to function, allow body to take care of itself. In the process of repair, maybe some good also is happening, some bad also is happening, but body knows to handle it. So this is the idea of naturopathy. That is, it boils down to do nothing. But in order to do nothing, you have to do many other things, like yoga. So you allow all forces to work inside. So this kind of science evolved there. And but when you read our textbooks, which is written by Henry Lindlar, he uses the words like prana, Brahman in the first chapter itself. Oh. And he explains sankalpa, ideation, how the thought process can influence the body. So it is although it has come from there, it is our own Oriental science or our philosophies that have evolved into nature cure. That is the reason maybe perhaps Mahatma Gandhi also felt that this is the only system that can empower masses.
Very true. In fact, while I was hearing from you all these principles of naturopathy, I was wondering, these are something which we have from our age-old, Vedic tradition. So why we have to say that it started from, Europe and came here? Of course, today we are in a kind of situation, even with yoga, it could be Ayurveda, it could be, we are bringing the best of the, Western systems of research in terms of validating all those. So therefore, yes, always this bringing the Western system and our traditional system is always, the integration is happening. For example, we are trying to evolve towards a kind of integrative medicine, that even in medical, the so-called modern medical system of MBBS, that nowadays we see, the integration of at least yoga and all those things slowly in major institutes like AIIMS and all are happening. So of course, this integration is always there. But the roots, if you see, like, for yoga, we are very strong. We say that roots are from India. World over today, nobody can dispute that part, that, yoga is from, India and from Bharat. Similarly, Ayurveda, when we say, nobody can dispute that, it is from Bharat. Likewise, I think, naturopathy, though you say that maybe the kind of systematization of the treatment, everything of what we do currently have started from Europe in the recent times. But the fundamental principles, as you rightly say, right from the pioneers themselves who have authored, have used our Indian, aspects of prana and Sankalpa and Brahma and all those things. It very clearly says even naturopathy is something which is very profoundly there in our ancient things. So do you see that is there any ancient references of naturopathy from our Indian scriptural role, like what yoga and Ayurveda has, madam?
Yes. In addition to what I said, the yoga component, when naturopathy reached India, when Dronamraju Venkatachalpa Sharma, who went to Germany, stayed there for years together, and learnt these new signs of healing and translated them into Telugu, and then went door to door. And in those days, it was these local Vaidyas and people who were running Vyayam Shalas. These were the people who were immediately attracted and adopted this simple way of living and the principles of nature cure, which will actually empower you and can keep doctors away, keep hospitals away. What else one was expecting? So the Panchabhuta theory, you were asking what else was Indian in naturopathy. So the Panchabhutas theory that we are talking about in Ayurveda was very much there in the naturopathy as five great elements, elemental therapy. So this elemental therapy is quite close to Indian understanding of Panchabhutas. And then the fasting, which was mentioned there as a very important treatment, was very much there as Lankanam Paramaushadam here. So all these, what was mentioned in European naturopathy, the principles were quite close to our heart here and our cultural practices, and it was very quickly accepted and it became like a wildfire. And with the advent of freedom struggle, the entire country was reeling under at that time. Mahatma Gandhi gave a call that in order to empower our masses, naturopathy has to be adopted, and people started since then. And only later part, after independence, slightly it has come down, but then after 70s, again it started gaining momentum. And now, of course, you can see there is so much of demand, and then people wanting to know more and more about the principles of naturopathy. And of course,
Very
yoga
nice and
is
interesting to
yeah. Yoga also has been incorporated into the teachings and then training curriculum of naturopathy since 1920. Not many people know about this. There was an All India Nature Cure conference at Kanpur and later at Bejwada, wherein they have made a document in which they have clearly mentioned that training in yoga therapy and yoga philosophy and Ayurveda principles are essential for training a naturopath.
So even when, for example, the institute which you are heading is called National Institute of Naturopathy. That's it. There is no yoga there in the institute. It is not NIYS, NIYN. It is NIN. But still, you say that even though naturopathy would be there, but it is yoga and naturopathy together only. It's always going ahead.
Yeah, the beauty with the Indian naturopathy is there is no naturopath who does not use yoga as a tool. It is not vice versa. All yoga people may not use naturopathy, but there is no naturopathy who does not use yoga tools. So that is the strength. When we are saying naturopathy, yoga is already there. But where naturopathy is not there in yoga, there it has to be mentioned. So that is the situation. So, and NIN, not mentioning yoga does not make it anyway less as a yoga institute. But all said and done, I should also share it here. And since it is official information, in the last governing body meeting, there was this proposal to change the name of NIN, National Institute of Naturopathy and Yoga.
Wow.
NINY. So the process is on. Maybe it will be changed also. Since there is a demand in the general body meeting, other members wanted it that way. Maybe it will happen sooner or later.
In fact, I was about to ask the other question to you, that often when we see today the professional naturopath practitioners who are there, who are I think who do the BNYS from the prominent naturopathy, yoga naturopathy colleges, and so though the degree says it is bachelor's in naturopathy and yogic science, so it's BNYS. But often when you ask their designation, something they say I'm a naturopath, like homeopath. or Ayurvedic practitioners. So they should, I often feel that, when their course name itself contains that, and they are equally, I think, being taught in the science of yoga also, yoga, especially the healing aspects of yoga, yoga therapy, and everything. In fact, the other day, 4 days back, we had Dr. Naveen Vishwesharaya, who is the president of Enigma, the Indian Naturopathy Medical Graduates Association, being with us. So we were talking a lot of challenges in the professional education system, the legalities, all those things of yoga, naturopathy together, a lot of things we were discussing. So this was all, discussed there. So what I would like to ask you is, but there's a trend among the naturopathy practitioners, doctors who are there. In fact, you were telling in the beginning, when the naturopathy system came to India in the pre-independence time, the yoga people all took it, and then the aim was to, go away from doctors and hospitals. But today we call the naturopathy practitioners themselves as doctors. I have to introduce you as Dr. Satya Lakshmi, Dr. Navi, Dr. Raghavendra. So also you have become the same, flow of the stream, also doctors. And we call naturopathy hospitals. We don't call it as, though I'm very glad that, you have named it Nisarga Gram and all those things. But still the common trend is people call, naturopathy hospital, Ayurveda hospital. So I think we should come back to a different trend of calling them with traditional names. Mostly in Ayurveda, the doctors, are traditionally called as Vaidya.
Right.
So likewise, is there any terminology through which yoga naturopathy doctors can be addressed, madam?
Yeah, see, the earlier days, all nature cure hospitals were known as naturopathy ashrams. They were not hospitals. They were all ashrams. And patients there, now we call them patients. And those days they were called sadhakas. So, see, the nomenclature, kept on changing from ashram to hospital, sadhakas to patients. What to do? Times are changing, and legalities, and then, registrations, and when states have taken over this health as their chapter, there are certain, uh, quality and safety, in order to maintain all these things, slowly these changes have occurred, perhaps, I think so. But when we are dealing only with the health, not disease, then you don't have to worry about all this. But we are no longer in such a situation where you can say that I deal only with health, not disease, because they're always there together, and something happens to somebody, then the question of legality comes into play, because naturopathy doctors also come under Consumer Protection Act bill. So through that, if something goes wrong, they're equally punishable. So this only to make sure that people get quality treatment and safety is ensured. I think these changes have taken place. That's the reason we use case sheet, and we also use all diagnostic tools, and so that people, when they take treatment under our care, they feel confident and comfortable, and they can also see the changes, positive changes that have occurred during this. Otherwise, a person to go without food for days together, it's unthinkable. But now fasting has come back in a big way. Now autophagy, they are calling it autophagy, whatever names you give, but then it is essentially abstinence from food, voluntary abstinence from food. It is not that we are forcing someone to not to take food, but it has to come from the person who is doing it. So all these things, it's wonderful. People get better so well, and people come with diseases which were not curable or could not be treated by any other system of medicine, ultimately land up with us. We are the last resort, even today, all said and done, which should be the other case.
Yes.
Ours should be the first, because it will be so easy and to put in practice. And if it doesn't work, then one should try medicine. But what the situation is not such. Even today, people try everything else, and when everything fails, then they come to nature cure. But still, it is giving results. That's the reason. Still, it is existing. Not only existing, it is gaining so much of momentum. Uh, 5 years back, there were less than 13 colleges or 12 colleges, so to say. Now we have 40 colleges in the country.
So that shows there is a wonderful need for people, and accordingly, the education system is also enhanced by bringing so many colleges. Are also there enough of career opportunities for all those graduates who pass out and come? Is it also ensured, madam, today's scenario?
Yeah, see, that is the beauty. Naturopathy, what happens is there are so many components, as you were saying. So the diet is one major component. One can, wherever they are, they can still practice nature cure. And if one can invest something, then they can have a paraphernalia like massage, and then hydrotherapy, and then physiotherapy, and then kind of yoga department, all these things. And of course, modern naturopathy also offers acupuncture, ozone, and then chelation. All these subjects are also being added to assist naturopaths in their clinical practice, is giving so many avenues for youngsters to take up as a profession. And also for the society, there is a need for this. That's the reason I think it's matching very well. You can see the increasing disease burden in terms of NCDs, non-communicable diseases, like diseases which cannot be cured, which needed constant management and supervision. For all such, nature cure wonderfully offer something or the other. If not diet, exercise. If not exercise, some other therapies, acupressure, acupuncture, everything non-pharmacological. So it doesn't interfere with the existing medicines or therapy that they attend. At the most, over a period of time, as the health parameters start improving, the medicine burden will come down. Fair enough. So that's the reason people are coming back to us, and with or without medicine, with or without any other system of treatment, they can still include naturopathy and yoga.
In fact, the way like we have naturopathy and yoga education together as a professional education for people who want to become medical professionals in this line. And you had in the beginning mentioned that the system of naturopathy came from Europe to India. So do they also have today a similar education system where naturopathy is taught in professional way in the medical colleges, and then like we have the yoga naturopath medical professionals here? Do we see also them trained in other countries also, madam, other than India today?
Yeah. See, naturopathy has a peculiar condition wherein it can mold to the needs of the society, and as per the ethos of the society, it can evolve. So in America, naturopathy, they teach along with naturopathy some homeopathy, and then also herbology, and they don't have yoga there.
Mhm.
Similarly, in Australia, the thrust is more on herbal medicine and nutrition. That nutrition also is nutraceuticals and other things, some kind of vitamin supplements and all that. And Europe, it is completely different. So each area, it has evolved into a different kind of naturopathy. But then Indian naturopathy has a peculiarity of retaining all the original, what was given in the original naturopathy, and also added yoga, and also our own traditional fasting methods, and there also fasting is by and large practiced by everyone. Hydrotherapy is practiced by everyone, and elemental therapies are practiced by everyone. but each one has chiropractic. America, chiropractic is part of naturopathy, but here we don't have. So like that, Indian naturopathy peculiarity is yoga and our dietetics and vegetarianism all over the world. These are the commonalities that you can see.
Also, is there some kind of comparative studies, comparison with what is Indian system which is followed with the rest of the world followed? And is there any thing adapted as and when our system feels there is something good there, we can take in like that? For example, we see in other systems in other countries today, to the great extent, they see the relevance of our Indian traditional systems of yoga, and then somewhere they go to adapt it there. So likewise, when you say in their own respect, there is a naturopathy practice happening in different countries. So do we have a system where we compare what is happening there and adapt that in our Indian yoga naturopathy education system? Is there any such thing happening, madam?
Yeah. In the Western naturopathy, detoxification is a very, very catchy, method of treatment, for most of the health problems, and in general for weight reduction also. So this detoxification is a long process, and all said and done, nobody has time for anything. So so detoxification has taken many avatars now. So in that, modern chelation, using some IV fluids, you chelate. I mean, you remove certain metallic toxins from the body. And these procedures are adopted in Western, I mean, particularly in US. And similarly, in other Latin American countries and then also Australia, lot of ozone therapy is being used. And now in India also, naturopaths are getting trained in these modalities and then adding to their clinical practice, because pollution is increasing so much, and our food is contaminated completely. There is no pure water for that matter. If you want pure water, you have to go only underground water, because even the tap water that you get has chlorine in that, or mineral water, it has some minerals added to that. There is nothing called pure air or pure water or pure food, or everything is having some chemical in that, or some contamination, some added things and fortifications, and all that is actually making our bodies more and more in, if you want me to talk in yoga parlance, tamasic, and making us more and more rajasic. The combination of tamasic and rajasic is resulting in all these health problems. And in the process, the sattvic nature that has to evolve over a period of time is getting delayed or getting completely suppressed. So we are trying to use those techniques and detox as quickly as possible, so that in a less time, a person can become unburdened from all these toxins that have been collected over a period of time from the body, so that they become pure. So that is the idea. So of course we are learning, and this learning process is going on, and we are comparing. And from us, what they take is the fasting techniques, and then the combination of yoga to see a person who fasts. If a person does yoga, then he can do fasting for a longer period. Without fasting, without yoga, fasting can may be terminated early. So we have seen all this. And people with raw diet, if they take up yoga, the results will be wonderful, because the flexibility is far superior when a person is completely put on uncooked food. And with that flexibility, a person who does yoga, the results also will be better. So like this combination, they are learning from us and we are learning from them. It's going on.
Very nice to hear that. In fact, when you're talking of fasting, I remember today, I think is the right day that we have chosen for you, because it's Ekadashi. So
Yes.
many of us do fasting, but also some people have specialized fasting foods on Ekadashi also.
Yes.
So in the name of some traditions, prasad and all those things, we have some specialized fasting foods also. like, you were talking about the chemicals and all. So today's context, when you see whatever the food, products that we get, even the raw materials. So in terms of the growth and everything, we see that a lot of chemical things are added, and that's what in the market we get. Sometimes even in the name of what is sold as organic, we do not know how far they are true. So what is the right kind of diet that you suggest for a, not as a treatment? When you go for a nature cure treatment, what is given is different, but as a lifestyle, what common people can adapt. I think one of the best of naturopathy, what everybody can do is the diet, at least what they can follow in day to day. And again, as it is not separate from yoga also, rightly, as we see in the definitions of yoga, it is yukta hara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasaho. So it starts with right food. That's where, in fact, one of the initial days of this series, we had Dr. Kader, who is a food scientist, who is doing a lot of research and propaganda of millet food and all those things. Also, we had some discussions with him. So, in this regard, what is the right food based on the principles of yoga and naturopathy, not as a treatment, but even as a daily routine? What is that we have to take, madam?
The mantra is eat when hungry. The first thing. Not because it is 8 o'clock, it is 9 o'clock, it is lunch time, it is dinner time. Just because two people meet, end up eating. One should not, consider this body a dustbin. Eat when hungry. That is the first principle. The second.
Sorry to interrupt in between. For example, today, I have been fasting because of the Ekadashi, and I don't. Of course, it is routine I have followed, so it is this thing. So tomorrow morning, if you see, so early in the morning, I will start feeling so hungry. But when I go and ask my mother, she says, "What is this you're doing? It's not your breakfast time. Wait until 9 o'clock." Sometimes we get the hunger only at a very delayed time, also not at the lunch time, something. So, but when we are in family and other things, this conditioning of timing is very much happening.
Yes. So we need to unlearn. So unlearning is painful, troublesome, and there are well. So that is what we do. We keep telling these things that eat. We are not averse to eating, and we end up eating, but eat when hungry. And hunger, one need to understand what is hungry, what is hunger, and if you understand the pain of hunger, if you experience hunger, then you become a genuine person, and you respond, and your empathy to other human beings around will become more humane. So for that, at least one should fast, one should experience hunger. In fact, with our children also, we should make them fast. It is better not to feed them, force feed them all the time, showing moon or other, but also make them fast. And experiencing hunger is an absolute necessity in order to make them a better human beings. And apart from that, eat foods that come from the local soil. Just because it is good, I shouldn't be eating New York apples or quinoa or things which are not native to this land. It is absolutely unethical and unsustainable in the long run. We cannot allow this kind of things to happen. So eat that is locally grown and seasonally available, and that is the best way. So that is what we are telling all along. All naturopaths across the globe tell this: eat local and seasonal, because every season has a as per the need of the ecosystem, it produces, and we got to eat accordingly. But now, if you ask anyone, when do you get tomato? Is there throughout the year? Any fruit, any vegetable is available throughout the year. There are no seasons except, I think, mango. Yeah. So there are no seasonal fruits now, except mango and sitapal maybe. So we are slowly moving away from that. So abundance availability of food is forcing us to exercise a lot of restraint. So we have to cultivate that and then teach our children to eat less. And that's what Gandhi said. To err on the lower side is better, particularly with regard to food, and better fast as and when possible. And for your not only physical reason, yeah, now COVID-19 also taught us one great lesson, that you cannot live healthy in isolation. You have to go with the menu. We have to go along with all others. You can't live happy and healthy alone. So this is what naturopathy is telling all along. We have to share our joys and sorrows and be empathetic and sympathetic to people around.
In fact, while I was hearing, I was thinking of, as you rightly said, in the West, it's more of the detoxification and all those things which are more practiced. So, do you still think that if you follow the right diet, also there is a need for the detoxification and everything to be done, or should they go parallelly along with each other?
It depends in which environment you are living.
Okay.
See, for example, Delhi roads are good enough. Even if you're a non-smoker, your lungs will still be, burdened with the kind of pollutants that a smoker would be having. So that's the reason. If you're living in even villages are no longer safe these days because of the heavy use of pesticides. All the time they'll be spraying. So the entire atmosphere is polluted. Water is polluted. So how can we ensure that, that even if you are eating good food, so what is good? Of course, human body is capable of eliminating most of the toxin because they are working round the clock inside to eliminate. We have 4 eliminative organs. If 4 eliminative organs are really good and robust and active, most of these are thrown out on a regular basis. But still, if adipose tissue is the one which collects all these and keeps under the skin in the muscle layers, they start tinkering. That's the reason we are having all these metabolic disorders. They are called POPs, persistent organic pollutants. All these pollutants, they remain inside the body, getting attached to adipose tissue, that is fat tissue, and they play their drama.
So when you say the naturopath diet, you were telling, first of all, the first principle is eat when you are hungry, and the right quantity and everything. So I was in the impression that in the naturopath diet means it is only to eat something raw food and maybe some fresh green vegetable, the leaves and all those things. So do you mean to say that even the normal vegetarian food what we take at home, the traditional cuisine what we have, even that we can have, but at the appropriate time of the hunger and everything? Or do you prefer to say that no, it is only a kind of a raw food and all those things you have to take?
See, what is given in hospitals is for people who have certain complaints. So this is to cleanse. The entire effort in a nature cure hospital is to clean. There is nothing more, nothing less. Through food, through treatments, we only try to cleanse. So this cleansing process makes us combine the food in such a way that it is eliminative in nature. So this eliminative food contains more of citrus, more of fruits, more of raw vegetables. It was also called Apakwahara Advaita. So for all diseases, you give only uncooked food or nature cooked food. So they're all already cooked by nature. So all nutrition is embedded in that. So give them in its natural form. so that body can easily accept it, absorb it, and if not, eliminate it. So it works both ways. That's the reason the first choice is fasting, followed by uncooked food, either fruits or vegetables. So once a person is healthy, recuperation is complete, then you can eat anything. Your body is capable of handling. So naturopaths never say don't eat anything forever. No. But during your stay at hospital, you are under our supervision, and our now endeavor and then our outlook is to keep your bodies clean. So for cleaning, yes, of course, our choice is more of raw food, whether vegetable juices or fruit juices or combination of it, or less cooked, if not completely raw. In some conditions where it is not indicated, maybe we will even give them cooked food.
So that's a wonderful thing you brought out. Otherwise, I was of the impression that so it's like always. Even I used to make sometimes fun of our naturopath friends who come. Oh no, we have this cooked thing, so I should go and bring some raw food and give for you. So that is what we used to say. So we understood the difference of what the normal diet at home, how it could be, and when as a special requirement of a treatment where cleansing is the most important factor, what kind of thing it could be, and how important, like in our daily relevant daily life also, fasting, like when we go to a treatment, again fasting which is given is different. But even on normal days, how often could somebody be fasting? Because if you ask my mother, she used to say, oh, Monday, Somvar, I'm doing for Shiva. Then Tuesday, she does a fasting for Devi. And then Guruvar, she says for Baba, Raghavendra, I'm doing it. So like this, those, that generation, they have been doing a lot of fasting. Is it that too much fasting is required okay, they have a spiritual connection for that, but does it support or affect their health, or what should be the balance of this fasting also? Because in India, definitely, especially women, many of them have this extremities of fasting sometimes.
See, I think fasting has a history. Starting from if you go back in our evolution,
Yeah.
we have to see a person in caves. Fasting is nothing new. Human body can survive without food for as long as days together, 100 days. And there is now a cult. I don't know how far it is actually catching up, wherein they don't eat anything. They are called breatharians.
Oh.
Huh. For not vegetarians, or we only know lacto-vegetarians, ovo-vegetarians, and vegetarians, and now plant-based foods, and then now completely not eating anything. Also, there is a cult, and it's also growing. They're called breatharians, and I had
Even normal people, lay people who are following that kind of a thing.
Yes. They're freely moving, and then normal. They do everything normal, but then they don't eat
Because
anything. No water, no food. Yeah.
Because I know in yoga, we have extreme condition of that yogis who live in such conditions, who are there. In my experience, I have seen a couple of them, who have been doing, and in fact, in SPRs also, we try to do some kind of research on them, how without external food they are able to do only with pranayam or something. So for them, it is different kind of exceptional case. But you say that community of people, normal people living like that, it's a new information.
Yes, it is there, and you can even Google breatharians. They're known as breatharians, and they don't eat anything. And a person, walked into NIN some time back. This lady, she's an Australian nurse, retired nurse, and she's a breatharian now, and she doesn't eat anything. And I asked her, last 1.5 years she did not eat anything, and she says that we don't relate to food. Like if you see a table, you don't eat, right? So similarly, food, what you think you can eat, we don't relate it to that as food. So it never occurs to us. And she was quite normal, and she cycles also wherever, and she travels a lot. Of course, that is besides the point. But in general, a person is our Dr. B. Venkatrao, the founder of Hyderabad Nature Cure College, and then instrumental in many other institutes to come up, including NIN, CCRYN, and Jindal Hospital. Dr. Venkatrao used to tell that every person should follow 5 health principles. So the first principle is eat twice a day. Drink minimum 8 liters of water, do 1 hour of exercise or yoga, and do prayer twice a day, and fast once a week.
Wow.
The last one is the final thing, what you asked me.
Yes.
So fast once a week, and he used to tell you have Sunday holiday by
Eat
similarly
more, to eat more, whatever we are not able to eat on the 6 days of the week.
correct. But then for fast on Monday in that case. Your mother also will be very happy. So what happens is he says that give physiological rest to the body. Allow body to purify itself. Fasting is not meant as is mentioned now as calorie restriction. It is not a calorie restriction. It is a cleansing method. Both mental purification of thoughts and purification of the body. Both occurs during fasting. And you will be emotionally more charged and a better person. So fasting has all those components. It cannot be seen in isolation. It changes a person completely internally.
So, but like even just like that, fasting without doing anything. Okay, I know some people who don't eat at all, but there is energy compensation which they get through the pranayama or the meditation, all those what they do. But normal people may not be able to do that much long thing because of their day-to-day routine work. So weekly once fasting, and then this is a very good thing. 2 times meal is something. I think after this lockdown and everything started, I heard from many people that they started following this at least. 2 times meal and so limited thing, because there was not physical activity much going around and everything. So hope that should continue, because once what happens, once the things open up, now the restaurants have opened, the chats and everything have opened. So it's very nice, the concept that breatharians were telling that I don't relate to that. At least we should get this, that's what we call as pratyahara in yoga also. Kind of a control of our sense organs of what is, even among the food, what is required and what is not required. So that discriminative power, if we get, I think we can make a balance in the food what we take. So that is very nice. And other than the diet and food part, what is any other major naturopathy practice that we can practice at home in our common day-to-day life? Because most of the other things we may have to go to the naturopathy center, or a place there to do it. So one is food and fasting. Diet and fasting is very easy that we can follow in our day-to-day life. Other than that, is there any other techniques of the naturopathy which in common daily life that we can practice?
The fundamental is go back to nature. So you get connected to nature as much as possible. Exposure to sun, which is coming down greatly, in spite of abundance of sunlight available in this country. Why 80% of the people are vitamin D deficiency? Why do they have vitamin D deficiency? Vitamin D deficiency is resulting in calcium deficiency, which is also resulting in skewed cholesterol component in the body. Why all these things are happening? Because we are not exposed to sun. We are averse to. How many people are watching or seeing celestial bodies? I mean, even stars. In cities, it's not even available.
We see through the screens here, internet.
Yeah. So we should go for forest walks. We should sit next to a pool and watch a pool. So we have now coming up with programs like stargazing, moon gazing, and forest walks, and barefoot walking, and bird watching. All these things have to come back into our routine, so that we understand that we are part of this nature and we have to be with nature. And the more you go close to nature, you will be away from disease. Disease is when you go away from nature. Going away from nature itself is disease, whether it manifests or not. So integrate yourself into nature. In how many ways possible? That many ways. Walk barefoot, at least in nature's surroundings. And we are not. If you don't expose yourself to nature, then you become more and more susceptible. So exposure to nature is very, very essential. And then you become internally active and robust.
I think that's one of the wonderful thing that you said, because children, especially today, the scenario is everybody sitting in front of, though the advantages we are today, we both are meeting, you from Pune, me from Bangalore, we are meeting through technology,
Yeah.
But at the same time, too much of this is also going to become a havoc, and health is going to go to a great danger. And so getting in tune to nature in between, that is very important. I think even for children, parents should take care that then and there they take at least terrace what we have. Just go there in the evening and watch the stars, as you said, in the daytime, observing the sun and getting the sun's energy. If possible, to do a walk around, and all those are very essential things. And that doesn't cost anything. It is very much in our hands that what we can practice. That's a wonderful thing what you said. But that is where I think again yoga and naturopathy are not different, because in yoga you see it's all about nature.
Yes.
All the asanas, if you just observe the names of the asanas, Vrikshasana, it could be Padmasana, it could be Bhujangasana, everything is from nature. So the rishis who lived a nature-friendly life have seen things around them and have got the lessons, and they adapted, and that is how we have the lessons of yoga, what we have. And that is what is the principles of naturopathy also. And as you rightly said, the Panchabhutas and all those things are quite similar, I think. So in a way, though we have two different names of yoga, naturopathy, but they are not different from each other. And that is where they have been brought together as a common subject, as been taught, because we cannot separate that from each other. And I'm so glad to know from you that very soon the institute will be not only going to be an independent institute named after naturopathy and yogic science also together being there. And it's wonderful to know from you that. And one last thing I would like to know from you, that in this current situation, especially overall, you have given the scenario of how naturopathy along with yoga can be good for our health. But the current situation is a situation of very much uncertainty, what we are facing through. We do not know how long this is going to continue. Is there any remedy from yoga nature cure together to offer for those people at this situation of the COVID-19 what we are facing? One is, of course, I'm sure if we follow this lifestyle, definitely we can prevent. But is there any possibility of a curative thing also happening through yoga naturopathy system?
Yeah, we have issued one, guidelines for naturopathy physicians to go to people with COVID symptoms, mild symptoms to moderate symptoms. The best thing is to drink hot water, because most of these, viral load, yes, Kaapi, or your kashayas, whatever, it has to be hot water, so that the bacteria or the virus that is getting lodged in upper nasal tract or throat can easily be, because of high temperature of the water, it can be nullified, or it cannot be completely killed, but it can be lessened. Okay. Then the another thing is Jalaneti and Kapalbhati and Bhastrika and Brahmari. These are some of the techniques we are also telling. And another very important tool is steam inhalation and exposure to hot air and exposure to sun and fasting. These are some of the best tools, in addition to using tulsi and then turmeric. And in our we also use aromatic oils, both as humidifiers, that is in our steam inhalation, and also for inhaling. put it in camphor oil and then lavender oil. It also makes you feel better. And these are some of the techniques we have been using. And of course, acupressure and acupuncture also can be used to stimulate immunity in the body. So the best thing is to do regular yoga and then fast once in a while and then eat moderately and take more citrus fruits and then so that you get abundance of vitamin C and zinc, and exposure to sun will get good amount of vitamin D, and not to fear about the disease. That is more important. A positive frame of mind will result in positive activity inside the body. The more you fear, then the immunity gets compromised. So without fear, engage yourself positively and be positive, and then follow a good daily routine. I think that will keep everybody healthy.
That's a wonderful thing, because what the common principles of naturopathy practices are ever relevant. It's not like only for COVID-19 or tomorrow for some other thing. Once we practice this is going to be ever relevant, ever make us healthy. So that is important. I think with this lessons that we have been learning, people are slowly moving towards that concept of holistic wellness, than looking for a solution once we get an illness and then to do that. So overall towards wellness is what we are trying to go. And definitely naturopathy has a great role to play. And then when you say naturopathy, again, it is yoga, naturopathy going together hand in hand. And it's so nice to hear from you all these wonderful things. And time just goes away. I feel that there's a lot more things to learn from you, a lot more things to hear. But time just goes away. We need to come to a conclusion. And last, I'd like to know from you that this yoga day, when it is coming, we say 21st of June. So yoga is not something confined to one particular day. Like we also have a naturopathy day on November 18th. So it's not only that day alone you do. The day is only to remind us, to ensure us that we need to take these principles and practice on a day-to-day life. Every day should be a yoga day. Every day should be a naturopathy day, of course. But this year, when people cannot go, or we used to at least have celebrations, people coming together and happening. I remember even when naturopathy day was there, people used to have mass mud baths, mass sun baths, all those things they used to have. So these mass programs we cannot have. So what is your suggestion? How people still can celebrate the yoga day this year for June 21st?
Yeah, this year Yoga Day, because of the COVID situation, we are not in a mood to celebrate, but we can observe. So there's observance of COVID-19 situation resulted IDY. The Ministry of Ayush has come up with various programs. The first one is My Life, My Yoga contest. This is a 3-minute video contest. So we are requesting people to one asana, one pranayama, one mudra or bandha, and then how yoga helped them. So all these put together, not more than 3 minutes of video, they can upload using hashtags that is provided by Ayush website. They get a they get into contest, and the chances are that they may get a prize up to 1 lakh. So that is one. So that is the first thing. And up till 21st, first they thought it will be by 15th, they should send their entries. But then now it is postponed to 21st. So anybody can send their 3-minute yoga video and then upload it. Then another thing is on 21st, because of the COVID situation, we cannot join in big groups and then congregations and then do yoga together the way we were doing it on roads, parks, everywhere. Yoga day is a massive mad day. But this year we are not going to do it that way to show our liking for yoga. But we can still do it at home. So this is called yoga at home, yoga with family. So YHYF. So please do yoga at home and yoga with family and click a photo and then upload it, so that just doing is not sufficient. We should also make sure that it is registered, so that we get to know how many people have really done yoga. So with this, we are running many programs, and then each one is having their own challenges, and then throwing challenges, and then having contests, and then quiz competitions, and all sorts of things are coming up. And people are doing 1 day yoga marathons, and then programs, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. sort of things, and then webinars. It's a yoga fever now. So it's good to have that kind of fevers, because it cleanses us. So to raise temperature to that extent is really very nice, and a positive frame of mind can be also be contagious. So let's infect people with good things. So teach yoga and then register it. So we again request people to have a 3-minute video and then upload it. That is the first thing. And on 21st day, make sure that you do yoga. And then DD programs are there. And on that day also, 6:30 to 7:30, there will be a common yoga protocol, which is we all know how to do a simple yoga set of asanas, pranayama. And by doing that, we will continue with our pledge to do yoga every day. So
I think that gives a lot of clarity to people, because many were having doubts. How would we do? Usually, as you rightly said, every roads, every street corners, every parks and grounds, we used to have programs. So this year, because of this unfortunate situation, we are not able to have anything. I think, but that's the best. In fact, 30 years back, 20 years back, we never had any yoga institution also. People were doing at home only. All these institutions, what have started is all, of course, there were some ashrams which were there giving us a guidance, but it was actually everybody were following it in their own home. So we missed it. Therefore, we had to go to institutions to do it. But now I think the situation has given an advantage of being with family, doing at home. So it is, so no excuse. It's Sunday also. And the best way, that like the way we are reaching through online programs, all yoga masters, great masters today, they're reaching through online through their own houses. So best way to do that. I think that's a wonderful message that you have given. I'm sure all of our yoga mitras, the friends who are following this, will take this message from madam and do it. And the last part of our interaction today, I will have a rapid fire round for you.
Okay.
So it's just randomly some short words or questions, I would say, and you would answer also in a very short snippets that you can answer. So I don't plan anything, and so randomly what connected to what we have spoken, what comes to my mind, I just will randomly ask you. So because we have spoken a lot about food, so your favorite diet?
Vegetarian diet.
Fasting.
Fasting. Yeah, I do every Wednesday. I fast. Today was my fasting day.
Ayush.
Ayush. Yeah, healthy life.
Naturopathy.
Close to nature.
Yoga.
Yoga, self-realization.
Your favorite yoga asana?
My favorite yoga asana, Sukhasana.
Sirasukham asana is what even Patanjali has told. So, integrative medicine.
Yeah, I think in India it's very difficult. We are that way very egoistic. I wish it happens. But in practice, we do it. We also take medicines. We also follow certain diet. We also do yoga. But when it comes to institutional integration, that's not happening. But people are integrating. People are following all things simultaneously. So there is a possibility that it will happen.
The strength of naturopathy.
strength of naturopathy is health.
The challenges in naturopathy.
Challenges in naturopathy is ability to convince people to accept it and do it.
Corona.
Corona is a temporary thing. It is transient. It will go away.
Post-corona.
Post-corona, we are changed. We go to a new normal.
Yoga
We will
day.
continue to be normal, but then it will be a new normal.
The yoga day.
Yoga day is my day.
Thank you so much. That was very apt and relevant answers that you shared. And of course, there is one, I think when you were telling, I thought, I should have spoken a lot with you, asking your opinion about integrative medicine. Maybe some other time we should go for that, which is very essential thing. That's what, in fact, all experts that I have been meeting in this forum, especially, are wishing that should happen. So I think every system, they really want that. As you said, in a way it's happening, but somewhere there is some block which is there, which I think through open discussions, because now we have at least the traditional systems of medicine coming under one umbrella of the Ayush ministry and everything. So I think talk should happen with experts like you who are there, and then I think that should be the future, the way ahead that should be there, definitely. And so thank you so much, madam, for taking, I have taken much of your time with the liberty. I have taken much of your time, and you have been...
It was very nice, interesting, interacting. I think many things have come up, and it's nice to explore once in a while like this. Yeah, thank you very much for giving me this time.
It's my pleasure, madam. And your name very well, it reveals your connection with Prakriti and naturopathy, because you are Lakshmi, you are Satya Lakshmi. I always say, when we chant the Lakshmi Ashtotra, we look at Lakshmi as only money, wealth, and house, Griha Lakshmi, Aishwarya Lakshmi, Santan Lakshmi. But when you chant the Lakshmi Ashtotra, we have the first name in Lakshmi Ashtotra is Om Prakriti Namaha.
Okay.
So it starts with Prakriti. So Lakshmi is Prakriti. The nature is the greatest wealth that we have. Not the money, not the comforts, not the griham and other things what we have. Nature is the greatest wealth that we have, and therefore that is the Prakriti Lakshmi. As the name of Lakshmi itself starts with, the 108 names of Lakshmi starts with Om Prakriti Namaha. I always say it is, so Prakriti is nature. So naturopathy, when you say, that pati is, however, healing or whatever system in English it could mean, but we say pati is husband.
Yes.
So naturopathy, when we say Lakshmi's pati, which is Narayana, Shivan Narayana, who is there. So that way we see divinity in the term of naturopathy also. And your name, you being Lakshmi, so you are the Prakriti Lakshmi, that Nisarga Lakshmi being with us, talking with us. It was wonderful to learn a lot how yoga, naturopathy can be the way of life. It's not only a treatment, but the way of life, how we can take what simple things in our day-to-day life, how we can adapt. I think that's one of the greatest message that we have got from you for this International Day of Yoga. And it is our day, as you rightly said, it's your day. So it is our day. We all should, observe, if not celebrate, observe in our own way, being with family, being at home, and hope to have such wonderful time again with you. So thank you so much, madam. Namaste. And it was a pleasure, friends. So with this, we come to the conclusion of today's interaction with Dr. Satya Lakshmi. And tomorrow, you're going to have Dr. Shivaraman, who is a member of the government of Tamil Nadu's task force for COVID-19, who is a leader in the Siddha medicine. And he's going to be with us, a wonderful motivational speaker, Dr. Shivaraman from Siddha medicine, who's going to bring us the unifying factors of Siddha traditional medicines from Tamil Nadu, and also with yoga. So stay back with us, continue to watch all the episodes. Please do share. And if you have any questions to ask to any of these experts, so please do feel free to share with me. And I, on all your behalf, would take this ahead. With this, again, we wishing you all a wonderful yoga season, which has started, as madam said, the yoga fever which has started should become the yoga season. And come with wonderful ways of being at home and celebrate the yoga day. It should not be restricted only to one particular hour or something, but we should be able to celebrate the whole day in our